Happy belated October, everybody. My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown. And as I said, October is upon us. Now, I'm like 7 days behind, but this will be the Seaman's first ever Spooktober movie list for the whole month of October. My goal was to watch 31 movies and review 31 movies through the course of the month. And I have been watching. I just haven't had a chance to review. And that's the goal, to kind of play catch up today and get caught up. And my goal will be to try to get one of these movies out every day. But if not, throughout the course of the month, just get 31 reviews. So here is the Spooktober list for the Seaman. If you want to follow along, I've got every day listed there. You can watch the movies and then be on the lookout for the reviews. I hope you guys like this list. It's a mix of classic, Halloween and horror movies that I've grown up loving, mixed with some new movies that I've seen that have come out recently that are pretty good. So hopefully it should be a fun month. Halloween and October is one of my favorite times of year. So let's get right into what should have been our first review for October 1st. Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in. We're just getting ready to dive in to Hocus Pocus. I don't know if I'm going to say spoiler free. I'm not going to try to be spoiler heavy with these, but we're talking about a movie from 1993 and my all-time favorite Halloween movie. Hocus Pocus is just the perfect thing to put on to get yourself ready for Halloween. From setting to feel and performance and just Halloween stuff. It's got everything I look for in a Halloween movie. Big shout outs to Kenny Ortega, who directed, and then on the writing side, David Kirshner, Mick Garris, who came up with the story, and then Garris and Neil Cuthbert, who wrote the screenplay, because it's just a fantastic Halloween movie, set on the day in and of itself. 3 witches, you play with all of the perfect witch lore, how they hate children, how they feed on children, how they are hundreds of years old, and, just kind of plays into all the spooky, creepy things that go into, stuff with witches, whether it's broomsticks or black cats. And then they get to play around with Halloween itself. And you get to see the neighborhood in present day doing its Halloween thing. All the kids are out. All the parents go to a big old costume party bash, which kind of opens up things for the witches once they come back. But the whole concept of the movie, of course, is that these witches existed a long time ago. And 300 years they were shut down by a boy who was trying to save his kid's sister. And that boy gets turned into a black cat. And 300 years later, another boy who has a young sister lights a candle that brings the witches back. And from that point forward, the witches are trying to get all the kids in town to absorb their essence so that they can live forever and move on. But if they don't do it by the end of the night, they're dust. And that's, how the movie rolls and plays out. And from production design to costume design, everything look and feel wise is perfect. I love the setting of the town, the spooky vibes they give it for Halloween, and the 3 witches, the Sanderson sisters, are perfect, man. From wardrobe to look to hairstyles, and then of course to casting. Yes, while the writing and the production and the direction in the movie is wonderful. It's a perfect family-friendly, scary movie for Halloween that you can get your kids involved in. I mean, I started watching that movie when it came out in 93, so I was 7 years old. And like I said, it's stuck with me ever since. But when you have a cast that delivers the performances that you get here, you really do end up with something special. And a lot of that lands on the shoulders of Bette Midler. The biggest star in the movie at the time, and she absolutely knocks it out of the park. She's a perfect Winifred Sanderson. She's the perfect witch to be in charge, or head witch in charge, if you will. She's got all the kooky, fun things that you need for a movie like this to work in a family-friendly setting, but she also really brings the scary stuff. Like, you don't want to mess with Winifred Sanderson, and she has wonderful scary moments that she just crushes. And then overall, like I said, she's just the total package, and the way that she controls her sisters and needs to be in control at all times, it just all works and suits all the strengths of Bette Midler. So obviously she crushes. And then when you add in her sisters with a young Sarah Jessica Parker, who is just completely batty, man. Like, she is so erratic. It's wonderful to watch her spin on a dime, man, and be like in complete distress or despair, like dying as fake sunlight is starting to burn the witches. And then when she realizes that it was a hoax and it wasn't the son, and she's alive, instead of being mad, which is what Winifred leans towards, she just gets like, I'm alive! Like, I love the erratic nature of Sarah Sanderson, and Sarah Jessica Parker just nails that stuff. And then Kathy Najimy, who plays Mary Sanderson, rounds out the group quite well. She's a little bit slower than the other two. Not that Sarah is that quick on the uptake either, but she has just all these goofy faces that go with some of the slightly stupider things that she says or does throughout the course of the movie. And she's like Winifred's right hand, always wants to be helping. And when you add all that in with, like I said, the facial expressions that she has, it's just wonderful stuff. And like, she, of course, is the perfect witch to not get the broomstick, right? Like when they get brought back 300 years later and we're in, modern times, Winifred gets a broom, Sarah grabs a mop, and Mary, perfect person to get the vacuum and just like doesn't know what to do with it. But the combination of the three really deliver a lot of humor and a lot of spooky, scary Halloween stuff. And that's where I live in Hocus Pocus, is those three performances. But our cast of good guys is pretty rock solid too. Omri Katz, who plays Max, is the brother to Danny, who's played by Thora Birch. And it's kind of the mirror situation to the first time we see the witches. When the movie starts, we meet the witches trying to absorb the essence of a small child, a little girl, and her brother, Thackeray Binks, shows up to try to save her, and unfortunately fails, and in the process is turned into a cat. His sister's essence is absorbed, the witches are made youthful, and then the entire town shows up to save the day and hang the witches, but not before the witches can make a spell that says, on All Hallows Eve, when the moon is full, a virgin will light a candle that'll bring us all back. And that's it, And so you jump to the present, and Max, is there. It's a story that kind of mirrors Thackeray's and gives Thackeray eventually a second chance. And Max ends up being the one who accidentally brings the witches back on a night where him, Danny, and a school friend that he kind of has a crush on, Allison, played by Vanessa Shaw, decide to go exploring into the Sanderson house. And once they bring him back, Max and Danny become the people that, the witches are setting their sights on, and Danny in particular. And kind of watching the two groups battle is great. And then when you get all the additional help that those three have, and those three on camera, I just really think work well together. I love how Max is just the nice guy. I love that the nice guy actually gets to win, and the attractive girl is into him, and she, provides a solid secondary lead, while Danny, being a kid mostly, is not as useful sometimes, but comes up in big ways when she needs to, even though she's kind of more of the damsel in distress for most of the movie. She does have her moments, Thora Birch crushes. But the people that they add into the group for the good guys, whether it's Thackeray Binks, who is the boy from the beginning of the movie that's turned into a cat, growing up, kind of gave you a lot of reminiscent of Salem the cat from the Sabrina show, except his mouth moved really, really well. The visual effects on him were pretty solid. And I just love having him mixed into the group, because he obviously knows the whole story, and as they slowly kind of bring everybody in, you get to kind of see that balance between him and Max. And Thackeray is really funny at times. He plays the cat voice work perfectly, and then actually gets to be in the movie at the beginning and end, and that's, of course, voiced and played by Sean Murray. And then lastly is Billy Butcherson, who's played by Doug Jones. Love Doug Jones, and this is early Doug Jones. He crushes, man. He's a zombie who's got his mouth, sewn together, and he kind of is brought back by the witches to go chase down the kids, but first opportunity he gets to fight back and cut his, the stitches out of his mouth so he can speak. He just goes at the witches and provides really, really wonderful, funny stuff. And everything that kind of goes into that main storyline just works really, really well the whole movie. And then you can add in supporting humor and fun to the movie when you're watching all the parents out at the party and, having a spell put on them via the song I Put a Spell on You, sung by Bette Midler. Of course Bette Midler was going to sing in this movie. Come on. But all that stuff is really fun, and getting to watch Max and Danny's parents kind of as our main point of viewing from that area. You're just able to have a lot of fun with the parents, and overall the movie is just a lot of fun and just puts you in the mood for Halloween stuff. So of course, October 1st was going to be Hocus Pocus for the old Seaman, my all-time favorite Halloween movie. The question is, where does it fall on your Halloween list? Is it your all-time favorite? Did you know, like me, did you grow up when that came out? You know, it's a movie that I associated with at 7 years old and has been with me for damn near 30 years now. So where do you fall on Hocus Pocus? You know, what works or doesn't work in that movie for you? Where does it fall on your list? And what are you looking forward to on my Spooktober list and your own personal Spooktober list if you got one for yourself? Anything you're thinking about Hocus Pocus and the month of October in our Spooktober list down below in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the Seaman all Spooktober long, well, jump over there, man. Show a little love. Join the Sea Maniacs by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the Seaman's spooky cinema sit down, I've been the Seaman. I'm signing off. Peace. Well, oh, B, you guys are still here? You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. Seaman's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the Seaman goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down Squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.